Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Wednesday, the 1st of July.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda. Rwanda celebrates its 53rd independence today, so Rwandans weighing in on the significance.
Rwanda Air and PTA Bank soar high. We have the details on their latest agreement.
And a new app that will change the fundamentals of reading in Rwanda. Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Makeda Mahario. Over the next hour, we'll be bringing you all the latest news, sports, and business headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And the Rise and Shine team are here with us in studio. Happy Independence Day, everyone. I hope everyone feels nice and proud today.
Right.
All right, tell me, what's going on in the world of the money?
Well, speaking of independence, Rwanda is definitely going to be independent very soon. We are going to buy new flights, two more flights. Actually. Yes, we are. It's for Rwanda. Hello.
Yes.
So we're buying two more flights, and I was there for the signing agreement. Really good stuff.
Okay, and how about in the world of sports? I hope you have something to match that.
Well, today in the Independence Day, we're going to have some great football action. The big one, APR versus Police Peace Cup semi-finals for this year's Peace Cup final that's taking place this Saturday, which is Liberation Day. So.
Okay, all right, lovely. Well, all that and more is still to come, but first, Rise and Shine, story of the day.
Today marks Rwanda's 53rd independence anniversary, and many Rwandans have a different approach towards what the date really represents in our history. For some, in theory, it is the day the country freed itself from colonialism, while others argue that until July 1994, it was hard to really view Rwanda as an independent nation. Take a look. In 1961, as African nations were going through an independence phase, Belgian colonialists held a referendum in Rwanda in which the country voted to abolish the monarchy. Rwanda was separated from Burundi and gained independence in 1962. A historical fact that has a different meaning depending on who you're talking to.
Independence Day for Rwanda, so what is it? And whenever I think about it, it was just a flag. When Rwanda got independence to begin, I was outside Rwanda. I was a kid and I was a refugee. So when Rwanda got independence, 1962, already I was in Tanganyika. The issue of an independence of Rwanda remained elusive to me. We had millions of Rwandans who were outside the country, in former Zaire, and in Tanzania, and in Burundi.
Hariho abanyarwanda bari inyuma y'igihugu mu bwigenge ntibigeze babona rero kuko barirukanywe bari inyuma y'igihugu mu bwigenge simbizi bwari buhari kuko nicyo gihe n'abazaga nta mwidegemye bari bafite.
Some go as far as saying the real independence for Rwanda came in July of 1994 after the then Rwandan Patriotic Army had stopped the genocide against the Tutsi and liberated the country.
The independence of Rwanda has all been meaningless in my life until I think 1995 or 1996. Other African countries had reasons to celebrate their independence, but I in particular was not in a position to celebrate independence.
Igihugu cy'u Rwanda gifite ubwiyenge busesuye kubera ko ubu ngubu umuntu hari hose arahajya ku ndangamuntu. Umuntu arajya Bugande ku ndangamuntu haruha ku ndangamuntu. Cyane ntabwo umuntu yendaga n'indangamuntu yagendaga afite laissez-passer cyangwa passport. Ariko ubu urajya Bugande n'indangamuntu ukagaruka. Ukajya Burundi kuri laissez-passer ukagaruka. Cyane ntabwo wajyaga Burundi ngo ugaruke kubera ko nabwo bwari buhari. Ubu umuntu aragera hagiye hose, umuntu araryama hageze akaryama nta umuntu amukoraho.
Ubwigenge kubera twarabanje turataha tuzi iwacu dukira ubuhunzi abari hano mu gihugu basa n'indembe baragenda bahumurizwa biyubaka abo wabonye nonanse 1995 na 7 bumye ubu ngubu ubona ari abantu babacika cumu ubona ari abantu bazima bameze neza ubwo rero ubwigenge buhera ko umuntu ariho sibyo buhera ko umuntu ameze neza yisanzuye.
Lately, with the recent arrest of General Karenzi Karache in the UK, and a lot of Rwandans feeling the international justice has been more than unfair to Africans, many have questioned the whole concept of independence to begin with.
The flag independence, and that we got. Partial independence, and that one we have. Because some of the decisions for Rwandans can be made by Rwandans, but it also seems some other decisions for Rwandans and about the Rwandans can be decided somewhere else, outside our boundaries and outside our continent.
The debate is far from over. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda. All right, guys, so you guys remember that Bob Marley quote that's so used, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. A lot of people use that. And a lot of African countries have been accused of still living under the colonialists' dictatorship, rule, and a bunch of other things. Now, when you look at how what's happening with Rwanda, what happened last week and what happened the week before, do you guys feel like we can really call the 1962 independence a real independence, or do we still have demons we have to wrestle with? What do you guys think of it?
Oh. I guess it depends on what you consider real independence to be, right? Because I think that the independence that we're celebrating is a certain independence that, of course, different countries around the world celebrate when they got their independence from whoever was colonizing them, right? But I think we have to first ask ourselves and answer the question, what do we consider independence to be, right?
Well, from what Tom Dahiro was saying, he's talking about the fact that when you look at Kwame Nkrumah and you look at Samora Machel and you look at all these leaders that truly brought their countries to real and true independence at their time, it was real full independence. He says what Rwanda had in 1962 that he never celebrated, that he feels we shouldn't be celebrating, is just a flag independence. And he feels like that wasn't real independence because there was a referendum and they gave us quote independence. But is it truly independence? Are we still under the rule? That's what he was saying in the report. What do you think about it, Arnold?
When you look again at how Rwanda came to get independence in 1962, now that's the time of the African revolutions. That's the time when Ghana, which had gotten independence earlier in about 1958, was leading so many revolutions. Ghana and Boutros at Algeria, who had led Algeria to independence at that time, they were leading so many revolutions across Africa. So the French giving, the Belgian French, as it was called, Rwanda-Urundi, giving Rwanda and Burundi autonomy was due to the fact that they just needed to live. You know, there were more...
Because it was the movement in Africa.
It was the movement, yeah, because you notice that Uganda got its independence in 1962, Tanzania got its in 1963, Kenya got its independence in 1962. So
Congo, Burundi, and Rwanda had to be the next one.
Yes, they had to get their independence. Right. But what steps did they leave behind? Now, at that time of Rwanda's getting its own independence, in quotes, in 62, we were still paying 85%, you know, of our foreign reserves had to be in the French National Bank, you know, which was more or less colonial tax, and that went on until 1994, you know, 95, and then Rwanda had to move out of the Francophone Africa and move into the Commonwealth. And were we gaining our independence then? Economically, no. But again, it was one of the stepping stones to the genocide. You know, the 1962 independence, what they call the independence, because so many people, there was segregation already created, and then independence was given to a party that spread the fruits, you know, that led to
Especially since this came after 1959, and we know what happened in 59 with a lot of Rwandans fleeing, which ended up, creating a new generation in Congo, in Burundi, and in Uganda, Tanzania, and all these other countries. Now, Fidel is the president during the AFDB meetings last year that Arnold, I think, covered as well. He talked about the fact that, and he wasn't on the panel at that time, he was just among the people sitting, remember that. Yeah. He talked about the fact that a lot of African leaders, which is why I brought the Bob Marley quote, a lot of African leaders go to Brussels and go to Paris and go to Berlin to actually have mediation from Belgium and France and Germany and these other countries, while the problem is African. It's an African group that has a problem with an African political party or party, in rule at the moment. And he was saying, as long as we have to go to them to have our problem solved, we'll never be truly free and independent. What do you think about that?
I completely agree with that, because I mean, like you said, and also agree with the man in the video.
Right.
I feel like what we celebrate is more of an event, like the way we, it's something that happened. We acknowledge it and we celebrate it. But true independence comes down to us, the people.
Right.
Your mindsets and how you solve things. So yeah, like you said, if we still have problems and we run to European countries for solutions, then clearly we're not independent. We're not independent if, like a simple example, the AB Bank situation, if something like that can still happen, then we're not yet independent enough, because we should be able to stand up for ourselves and say something like this cannot happen in our country.
And set an example.
Exactly, and slowly we're getting there. Now people are able to stand up, people are actually able to demonstrate. This is something that never used to happen years back.
Right.
So I feel like slowly we're getting there. It's a process. And one day we'll be full independent. Now we're not.
No,
What does independence mean to you, Regis? Because you're the one who showed us the video, and we want to know, what does it mean to you?
To me, independence is more what we'll be celebrating on the 4th of this month, which is 3 days down the line. To me, independence is what actually happened in July of 1994, because then the French and the Belgian, who still had control over what kind of happened in Rwanda, even after they left in 1962, they still, had a lot of influence. And after July of 94, that ended, and a new era. We ushered into a new era, and President Kagame and the RPF at the time, and those who came in power at that time understood that it was Africans that were gonna, resolve their own matters. In this case, Rwandans. And I feel like independence to me is when you get to the point where you understand that you're the one who's gonna be fixing your own problems, and you're the one who's gonna be accountable for what's happening in your geographical territory. So I feel like as much as trade is needed and cooperation is needed, and nobody is knocking that, I feel like there's certain European countries that still feel like it's 1950 something, 1940 something, and that mentality has to change. So that's why, to me, independence is more the 4th of July than the 1st of July. Because I feel like...
Is it the European countries, though? Because to me, it just doesn't make sense up to now that African countries, in particular 14 African countries, still pay 85% of their foreign reserves have to be put in the French National Bank.
That's
that's colonial tax, and that's an argument that came in 59 anyway.
Maybe independence is a journey. It's not quite something that it's not a destination.
Well, what we saw, at least in the report, is that everybody has a different point of view, because you saw there's a gentleman that said, well, to me, independence is now being able to go to Uganda and Burundi. I only have to use an ID instead of using a passport. And, being free of moving, to him, that's independence. But Tom Dahiro is saying, and he's a historian, that to him, July 4th is more of an Independence Day, and I kind of agree with that.
Well, yeah, I guess it's whatever you've
Do you feel independent, you guys?
Absolutely. All right.
I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
All right. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwandair and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's get to today's business stories. Fidelis Karangwa has the details.
Business stories making headlines today. Gin producers could lose billions as the Rwanda Standards Board insists on plastic bottles ban deadline. RSP recently announced the ban on plastic bottles, urging that glass bottles are healthier and safer packaging material, and gave manufacturers an 8-month grace period to switch from plastic to glass bottles liquor packaging. Although gin manufacturers and importers say they fully support the switch from plastic packaging to glasses, they insist that RSP should give them a grace period of at least 2 years to give them broader time to recoup money invested in the automated plastic equipment and also pay loans acquired from financial institutions. This has also raised concern that if the ban is not pushed back, it could have catastrophic consequences on the economy and hundreds of families if it's implemented come August 1st. Rwandan exporters are looking to explore the Indian market as part of the country's export diversification efforts. Officials from the Ministry of Trade and Industry said exporters will benefit from a duty-free tariff preference facility, a trade agreement that facilitates access to over 90% of the Indian market duty-free, which came into force nearly 6 years ago. This deal is expected to increase the value of business transactions between India and Rwanda, with the ultimate objective being to create jobs and improve household incomes. And the business community in Gasawa district has called for a review of the trading license issuance procedures and tax regimes, urging that they are too high for small traders. Speaking during a meeting between the private sector and district leaders last week, officials from the Private Sector Federation say the taxes imposed on small and medium entrepreneurs do not reflect the business environment in which they operate and should therefore be revised by Rwanda Revenue Authority and local government in order for them to reflect the realities on the ground. They also added that business in Gasawa is low compared to other parts of the city of Kigali and does not fetch as much profits as those enterprises operating in the city center, raising the need to harmonize taxes paid by traders operating in poor performing areas if they are to grow and create more jobs. Now, Rwanda has been doing big things over the past couple of years, from joining the International Air Transportation Association to having new flight destinations almost every month. You name it, and it's being done. And just when you thought things are maybe slowing down, think again. I have a report on Rwanda's latest business venture that will have us flying in style. Take a look.
As of 2009, Rwanda was still considered a small player in a big league, as it was confined to work with small jet planes that could not handle long-distance flights. Fast forward to 2015, and Rwanda is everybody's flight of choice for short distances like Kigali to Entebbe, and even long ones like Kigali to Dubai. But what was behind this urgent need to grow?
We want to move to the next level. I mean, we have to follow where our people and customers for that from the continent are going. We need to take them beyond Dubai, we need to take them to India, we need to take them to China, we need to take them to wherever there is business. And as we see, Africa is not stagnant. Then going to Dubai was the biggest thing to an African business or trader. Today, they don't want to stop in Dubai, they go beyond into different markets in China, India, Malaysia. So for us to position ourselves as a capable partner and service provider on the continent, there's no doubt that we need to get to the next level of wide bodies.
And getting to the next level is exactly what they're doing. Just last week, Rwanda and PTA Bank signed their second agreement to finance the airline to acquire 2 passenger aircrafts from Airbus. With this acquisition of the 2 wide-body aircrafts, it will significantly increase Rwanda's capacity to efficiently meet the growing demand and provide exceptional service quality for the ever-growing long Asia-China passenger market.
Developing the access to the country, it means allowing business people, allowing traders, allowing investors to come easily to this country. It's also being able to control the price of the tickets. With this aircraft, the Airbus A330, it will not only allow to carry passengers, it's also allowed to carry cargo. The cargo capability of this aircraft can go up to almost 16, 18 tons, plus all passengers and their luggage. So it's a real way to help the economy and the export and the import in the country.
As more flights are bought into Rwanda, it is expected that soon ticket prices will go down and connectivity between Rwanda, the East African community, and the rest of the world will be made easier, thus boosting trade and the country's economy. Kangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
All right, Fidelis. Now, by acquiring more aircrafts, does this mean we're going to be going to more destinations as well?
Definitely. I mean, so far, the longest distance that Rwanda was covering was from Kigali to Dubai, and that was because they were limited, because the flights that they have are not able to make too long distance that they want to cover. Right. So with these new 2 flights that are coming in, it is expected that now Rwanda can make flights to China, places like Shanghai, which most traders in Kigali want to go to because of their business transactions. So basically, this is the ultimate goal. If they can make it to China, then they've covered most of the world. They are now they'll be joining the big league now, like most other airlines, like Kenya Airways and all these others that are already world recognized for, air transportation.
So we saw in the video something about the prices of tickets trying to, that needs to be controlled, right?
I'm sure that's very good news for you.
Oh, yes, for sure. So
definitely.
What can we expect in that? Can we expect lower prices?
Yes.
Competitive prices?
Exactly. The other thing is, the good thing with these other flights is they can take more people. So with more people, that means, they can be flexible, their prices. So they're hoping to bring them down with these 2 new flights coming in. And if things go well, they're hoping to even get more loans to buy some more flights. So basically, the more aircrafts they can get, the lower the prices will get, because now they're still limited. So they want to maximize as much as they can with the flights that they have. But with more flights, then definitely.
Now, besides China, prices. Is there any other destination that John Milenge and other people that run there are exploring at the moment?
Well, right now that's the one that they're focusing on, like I said, and that's mainly because of trade purposes. Like they mentioned, previously people in Kigali, business people used to focus more on like trading with Dubai, buying things from Dubai. Now they're more open to places like China, Malaysia, all these other countries. So that's why their focus is just there. They're trying to make sure that they can cover all these countries that business people want to go to, because one, it will help them, to do their trade better, and two, for even the other thing that they said, cargo-wise, right now business people would buy their stuff, then take a flight back home without their goods because they'd send them on a ship or something like that. It's going to be different with these 2 flights that are coming in. They can now move their cargo, just buy it, put it on the plane, come back home with it.
So you can buy stuff from China and
exactly. It will be so much faster. And that's the other thing, because people have been complaining, where are we with Rwandair Cargo? Where are we with Rwandair Cargo? Well, now, here it is.
Now, as our resident business lady or money lady, what do you think that this is going to do for the economy here in Rwanda?
Is that even a question? It's going to be epic. Like I say, now it's going to be a lot more competitive, because like I said, with cargo-wise, some people without even using shipping sometimes used to use other flights, like let's say Kenya Airways. That's going to change. So the more money is going to be invested in our economy, it's going to stay in our economy. So it's good stuff. And the other thing is also more investors can come into the country, because of the fact that prices for tickets to come in, to fly into Rwanda, or to fly to anywhere really with Rwanda, were still very high. That's a bit used to discourage investors. They used to think, what if I want to come and keep on checking on my business every once a week or twice a week? The prices are ridiculous. I can't do that. But with these 2 flights coming in, because the prices are going to go down, they're hopeful that investors are going to be more open to coming to Rwanda, investing their money, starting businesses here, because they have easier access to coming to the country. It's cheaper, so everyone will be happy. It's a win-win situation.
This is a segment not to miss on Rise and Shine Rwanda these days, man. This is great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right.
Well, you're up to date today. It's Business Headlines. Post News coming up next in just a minute with Anu Kuzera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news. Arnold Quizera. Starting with football, Rwanda head coach Johnny McKinstry has revealed that no APR player will be part of the national football side that will face South Africa's Bafana Bafana in an international friendly on July 25th in Johannesburg. The Army side will be involved in the Sekafa Kagame Cup that kicks off on July 11th to August the 2nd in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. 11 APR players were part of the 18-man squad that won away to Mozambique in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Still with football, but transfers, Isonga striker Danny Usenjimana has completed a move to Police Football Club on a 2-year deal effective next season. The 19-year-old forward, who has earned several call-ups to the Rwanda national football team, is keen on making an impression. The teenager is keen on playing first division football following Isonga's relegation to the lower tier at the end of the season last month. After signing for Police, Usenjimana attracted interest from Kenyan side Tusker FC, who contacted him, but he had already signed for the law enforcers. Meanwhile, his new side have all to play for in today's tie against APR after a 1-1 draw in the first leg of the semi-final of the Peace Cup. Moving on to tennis, there was no meltdown but no sense of invisibility either, a year on from one of the most peculiar episodes in Serena Williams' career. She returned to court one and exercised a bad memory, but not without a wobble. This was expected to be a routine demolition of a 20-year-old in Margarita Gasparian, who had never won a Grand Slam match and is yet to beat a player ranked higher than 96. Instead, it was more of a slog that it needed to be a match which required her to fight back from a breakdown to win the first set 6-4 before strolling on through the second set 6-1.
All right, Arnold. So when you think about Serena Williams and the fact that, she's been able to, let go of all demons and, back this year at the All England Tennis Club, what do you think? How far can she go in this year's competition?
I think Serena can go on to win the title. She's ranked #1 in the world. She's ranked the first seed for this tournament. Not necessarily being ranked first seed makes you #1, because Rafael Nadal is 7th seed in the world and 10th. At this year's Wimbledon. But Serena Williams is almost unbeatable. When you look at last year, when she came back and she had to drop out of that game where they were playing the doubles match with her sister Venus, she dropped out because she was messed up psychologically, which to many people was a surprise. Now, Serena has been criticized for so many things, from her race, to people comparing her to a man because of her masculinity. But then this is because of her working hard. Yeah, I feel Serena Williams is favorite and should go on to win Wimbledon because this is her favorite tournament. She has won 5 Wimbledon titles. Yeah, it comes close second to the US Open, which is more of home court advantage for her back in the United States. But when you look at the tournaments prior to this, the people who should be her rivals, the likes of Sevin Ketsnova, Maria Sharapova, Sloane Stephens, they have not been at par. They have been dropping out second round, third round at the tournaments. At the Birmingham Open, at the Welsh Open, and Serena she has been in top form. She has just won the French Open after a setback at the Australian Open, and then she won the Welsh Grand Slam tournament. So you feel Serena should go on to win this year's Wimbledon Open tournament.
Now, can we say that she's the greatest female of all time? Because when we talk about the greatest that ever played, you mentioned Margaret Court, you have to mention Steffi Graf, you have to mention Martina Navratilova and Chris Evert. Is Serena up there, or is she the greatest?
To me, Serena is the greatest because she is the greatest Open era tennis player tournament. That's when, ever since it was ranked as the ATP Masters, ever since we had the Grand Slams all being played out in an even calendar year. In one calendar year, she has gone on to rank 13 Grand Slams. 14 Grand Slams. That's that's up there. She's still behind Martina, but you feel the reign in which Serena has played in. You have the likes of Amelie Mauresmo, who's the current coach of Andy Murray. You have the likes of Justine Henin-Harden, Kim Clijsters. Those 2 Belgian ladies at some point were a force.
Martina Hingis.
Yeah, Venus Williams, before she became sick,
right.
She was a force. Serena has played against some of the greatest tennis players. You know, at some point people thought she could take on the men, but you know, she's still a lady at the end of the day. Right. But the 2000 to 2006 Open Era, women's Open Era had was abundant in talent, had a lot of great tennis players that have gone on to be written already in the Tennis Hall of Fame, and Serena Williams dominated that era alongside her sister. You feel she is the greatest tennis player, female tennis player ever.
All right, now let's talk about this upcoming fixture between Bafana Bafana, the South African national team, and our Amavubi here. How are you looking? Because when you think about it, usually coaches and staffs, when it comes to the national team, usually they roam around the national championships to try to see whose player is in form, who's starting and who's not starting, because usually the ones that start get the call most of the time. What can you say is happening with Amavubi? Do we have a problem when it comes to goalkeepers? Do we have a problem when it comes to the players the coach is picking?
I think it's more of lack of depth. When you look at Stefan Constantine's team and John McKinstry's team, there's hardly a difference between the two sides. But then APR has the depth of the best players, because when you look, you're going to take out the likes of Usenjimana. Sorry, not Usenjimana. You're going to take out the likes of Patrick Sibomana, and then you're going to bring in Butera. Those are two APR players who play on the same flank and who play for the national team. Now, our national goalkeeper before, Jean-Claude Ndoli, is an APR keeper, and after he got injured, the incumbent is Olivier Kwizera, who is an APR keeper. Now, the third choice keeper for the current national side is also an APR goalkeeper. That shows that the depth, the team lacks depth. Now, this Bafana fixture will help expose so many players. Now, of course, we have players who are returning from injury. Tuisenge has been away for almost the season. Now, you see his performance for Police, and he will have something to say about today's fixture when Police take on APR. Tuisenge is back. You know, you look at the player we have been talking about in today who was transferred to Police Football Club, Usenjimana. These are the players to look out for. The Police Football Club, the Isonga football team's own goalkeeper, Hateji Kimana, is also another force to reckon with. So this is their chance. Most of these under-17 players, it's their opportunity to come up and, you know, raise their hand to McKinstry and say, yo, we are good enough. We may be in Entisaal, we may be in Isonga, but we are good enough for the Amavubi national team. So that will create more depth, you know, for the Rwandan national team going forward. Now,
expectations-wise, what would you say would be a good result for Amavubi in this fixture?
I think a draw will be a good result for that squad that he's going to take. It's going to be a very youthful team, inexperienced team. A draw will be a fair result for the Amavubi team. But then again, he may have to recall the international players, or the players who have gone away to the likes of Sofapaka in Kenya, because of late, Rwanda has become a breeding ground for Sofapaka players, 5 of them playing in the Kenyan team. So he will bank on their experience, plus the captain who will be called back from Yanga in Tanzania. And Hamza will go on to inspire the team. And I think a draw will be a great result, and especially against a side coached by Shakes, you know, in South Africa, which has been playing well. Bafana have looked rejuvenated ever since Shakes took over. You know, you saw them at the Africa Cup of Nations. They put up impressive results, draws. They failed to get out of their group, but then they're still Bafana at the end of, and they're at home.
That's still there.
Yeah, and they're at home.
All right, Arnold, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at news making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
The Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee cautioned officials from the Rwanda Education Board over their role in the mismanagement of more than 300 million francs. The move comes after investigation was launched to look into a scam in which the government lost thousands of dollars in tuition fees for Rwandan students in Nigeria. The Auditor General's report stated that the funds were embezzled through a cyber attack in which an individual allegedly engaged REB as a representative of a Nigerian school and provided bank details different from those officially provided by the institution. Officials from REB who sent money to the individual say they were unaware it was not the institution and were only notified when the money had already disappeared.
USAID has announced a 5-year grant worth about 26.6 billion Rwandan francs towards uplifting 50,000 poor families out of poverty. The funds will go toward a project called Twiyubake, which will be implemented by global communities and aims to strengthen the protection of vulnerable groups and provide them with easy access to health, social, and educational services. Beneficiaries will include people living with HIV, orphans, and poor families, especially by those headed by women. The project is intended to benefit at least 250,000 individuals in different ways.
The United Nations Security Council has extended a peacekeeping mission in Darfur for another year, despite calls by Khartoum to withdraw the $1.1 billion operation. Order has all but disappeared in much of Darfur, where rebels took up arms in 2003 against the Arab-led government in Khartoum, accusing it of discrimination. A joint African Union-United Nations mission deployed in 2007. Sudan asked UNAMIR to propose to leave last year amid a dispute over attempts by the mission to investigate an alleged mass rape by Sudanese soldiers in the Darfur town of Tabit. The government denies any wrongdoing by the soldiers, and in an unanimous decision, the 15-member Security Council stressed that any withdrawal of the mission will be measured against conditions on the ground and implemented in a phased, flexible, and reversible manner.
The body of a dead Liberian teenager has tested positive for Ebola. This marks the first reported case since Liberia was declared free of the disease. Officials say tests confirmed that the 17-year-old man had died of Ebola, and investigations have begun on how he contracted the disease. Liberia was declared free of Ebola 6 weeks ago, following the deadliest outbreak in the disease's history. More than 11,000 people have died of the sickness since December 2013, and most of them in Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. The 3 most affected countries had largely curbed the spread of the disease, but the number of new cases has risen recently with the start of the rainy season in West Africa. Lots more still to come. Lifestyle is up next. Plus, we take a look at what's hot right now in our daily debate section. Hot Topics. We'll be right back.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwandair and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Lifestyle now. Makeda, what do you have for us?
I have a very interesting new app that was recently launched, so let's take a look at that.
All right.
Rwanda has a developing reading culture. While efforts are being made all the time to motivate more people to read, it seems few have been this progressive. Last week, Imbuto Foundation, alongside the Ministry of Education and other partners, launched an app that will change the way many Rwandans access books. Take a look. In a morning event that included storytime, live demonstrations, and panelists, Imbuto Foundation and the Ministry of Education, along with other partners, came together to launch a new app that functions as a free digital library for anyone with access to an Android phone or tablet.
So Library for All is an app. It's available to anyone that has an Android device in Rwanda. It's available for free, and it's an app that's full of ebooks that we've curated specifically for Rwandans. We have a local Rwandan advisory board that helps us select the best content, and we work with local publishers, and now we have about 500 titles. About 100 of those are from local authors, local publishers. So it's really about giving Rwandans an opportunity to get access to these amazing materials for free.
The initiative aims to encourage not only more people reading in Rwanda, but more people reading Rwandan content.
We believed, as we were putting this together along with our partners, that it's not only important to encourage reading, but we must encourage reading of Rwanda content material as well. We develop great content, but we never have accessibility to it.
This ambitious collaboration is not only going to be promoting the reading culture here in Rwanda, it's also going to be promoting writers and people to start writing and putting their stories out there.
We've tried to do a fruit salad of content. So we have content from ages 5 to 25. We have a lot of great early grade readers in Kinyarwanda and English. We're welcoming feedback as well. What do Rwandans want to read? You can send us an email if you go to the Google Play Store.
As amazing as this project sounds, one can't help but think, although so many people in Rwanda do have smartphones, that the actual scope of people using the app could be wider if it were available on other platforms.
Now the application is working with Android on phones and iPads, but there is a plan to make it also available and be able also to be accessible to these ordinary computers like desktops and laptops. In January, they will be able to access them through laptops or desktops. Yeah, just this is a starting point. They start with phones and the iPad, but there is a plan so that next year, January, everyone can access the application with any device.
Well, with over 500 titles so far, 100 of them being Rwandan, there will definitely be something for everyone to enjoy. Makeda Mahario, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
All right, Makeda, so I really like this report. What has been your experience with the app? Have you tried it? And what do you think the everyday Rwandan will experience once they try it?
Yes, I've tried it, and there were a lot of demonstrations at the launch that I attended. And it's very easy to use. It's quite fast. You just need an internet connection. And I mean, hopefully, I think even if, you know, things are becoming easier, you know, it's becoming easier to access books and things like that, we still need the will to read, right? So as long as someone says, I want to read this book, or I'm curious about reading more or learning more about this, people will use the app, and it's quite efficient. It's great. So right now there's 500 titles. I spoke with them and they said it's growing all the time. They're just looking for more and more books to put on there. So I think it's amazing. It makes everything so much easier, and it's free. I mean, these platforms are there. Sure, you can download books, but you have to pay for them. This is completely free. There's so much Rwandan content as well. I think it's fantastic.
Now, I liked what the lady said in the report when she talked about the fact that she would love to have feedback from Rwandans to know what kind of content they would like to have on there. Now, were there a lot of people there at the app launch at the Library for All, and when talking to them, did you have a sense that they actually cannot wait to have Rwandan content on this app?
Well, actually, during the launch, there was also a panel, and a lot of what people were discussing and saying back and forth was that, yes, Rwandan content is extremely important. That was actually a big theme in the entire afternoon. Just that, you know, we have to read our own stories. We have to write our own stories. We have to read our own stories. We have to know where we came from and kind of embrace our culture. And I think, you know, a lot of people say that's kind of the reason why reading culture isn't quite as developed as it could be, because, you know, there isn't that Rwandan content yet.
Right, you need to relate to.
Right, so to relate to. So I think once that stuff is out there, because I think there's a lot more Rwandan books and writers than we even know about, you know? So once it's all out there, once it's so easy to get, and especially once it's available on other platforms like laptops and, you know, desktop computers, I think it's definitely going to...
I'm all for Rwandan content. I can't wait to get my Google Play and try to...
Oh, yeah. And there's even titles in Kinyarwanda, so there's really no boundaries, you know what I mean? Right. I think it's great. And like she said, if there's any content that Rwandans want to read, or, you know, anybody is thinking, I really wish this was on the app, you can just email them at the Google Play Store, and you know, it's an open dialogue. It's great.
I like this report. I really like it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. It's that Hot Topics time again. As always, the Rise and Shine team have been out and about gathering everything you need to know about what's happening here and abroad. From what's trending on Twitter to debates in your local cafe, we've got it for you right here and right now, all right? Now, forget about abroad, forget about international things and, you know, all of that stuff, because we have a very hot topic right here in Rwanda. All right, so I'm sure you guys have heard about it. It's all over the place. It's all over Rwandan media, international media. There are lions back in this country,
yes.
All right? So
I was like, what is she talking about? I know, you're right.
How could you not know?
No, I know.
So yesterday was the arrival of the lions that have been donated to Akagera Park, right? So there hasn't been lions in Akagera Park for about 15 years or over 15 years. And everyone is excited about this. I even see international media is really going crazy about it, because it's just a nice story. So I actually went to South Africa to go and cover the transportation of the lions, go and see, you know, where they came from and things like that. So I'm going to be reporting on it next week. You guys are going to see that first thing next week. But it's just been so excited. Everyone is excited about it. And it's actually happening, the press conference in Akagera Park to, I guess, you know, unveil and reveal the wonderful lions is actually happening this morning at Akagera. So 7 lions came from South Africa from 2 different parks, and yeah, this is just like a really great story for us. It's like the kings and queens are returning
to
Akagera. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a great story. I think tourism is one of the key pillars of our economy. It brings a lot of money in the country.
If not most key.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this is going to be another thing, because we're one of the 2 countries, I think, worldwide where you can actually have access to mountain gorillas safely. So this is going to be another attraction. People are going to want to go to Akagera to see them, and I believe in the next 2 years, our economy is going to be greatly affected by this.
This also brings us one step closer to achieving the Big 5, right?
Yeah.
So all we're going to need after this is the rhino. After we have the rhino...
So we don't have the rhino?
No.
So in fact, I thought the Big 5 was complete after this.
No. This only takes us one step closer. But we're going to be getting rhinos soon. But we're almost there. We only have 4 now. We're going to be 5, and then it'll be complete. I mean, already it's so exciting. You know,
I would love to see the transportation of rhinos, though.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I don't think you can, like, put them in a plane.
What we want to really know is, how was the experience like when you went out there?
Oh, it was just really, really crazy. It was amazing. You know, it was exciting, but at the same time...
Were you standing next to, like, the cage?
Extremely freaked out. You know what the thing is, because You know, I posted a picture of the actual boxes that they're transported in and stuff like that. But before they got in those boxes, they were outside of those boxes.
You were hiding somewhere?
Oh my gosh, I was just like this the whole time. I
didn't even think they were going to break the boxes.
Yes, exactly. I was like, if I move the least amount, maybe they won't notice me at all.
Right.
But yeah, it was really great seeing them. The lions that are actually going to come here, they're wonderful, very relaxed. I only got to see the females. There are 5 females, 2 males from 2 different parks, but it was really, I mean, it was great. Everyone needs to go to Akagera, visit our new resident.
You know, I've not been there. Maybe that's a good reason to go. I've never been there.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Can I say something?
I definitely will.
Neither have I.
Whoa.
Oh!
Revelations here on Rise and Shine Rwanda.
We're bad citizens, but now we have
domestic tourism, intra-tourism.
Imagine.
We said we're going to go.
Inshallah.
We're going. Yeah, so very excited about that. Now, don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Let us know what you're thinking. Are you excited about the Lion? Like us on Facebook and send us ideas for programs. Tag us in your photos. Comment on what we're saying. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports that we upload daily just for you. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We're always posting behind-the-scenes photos. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but do let us know, like she just said, if you have any idea for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Makeda Mahario. We'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow, so please do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the beautiful
team,
Rise and Shine team, have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.